Let's talk politics, and particularly let's talk politics of Lower Eastern Kenya. Joining us is Senator Sylvia Kasanga. Good morning.
Good morning, Eric and Ndu and City. Happy New Year to our viewers and listeners. I'm happy to be here.
Happy New Year. Good to have you on the show again.
Yeah.
And always good to see your comments on social media as we hold the various conversations.
Yes.
Asante sana
Yes,
for joining
I
us.
like listening to you guys. Yeah, the default radio station in my car in the morning. Even the children listen to you guys.
You're bringing up your children
Yeah.
very well. That they're getting a proper, solid upbringing.
and listen to serious matters.
Yes. So there was some Eid, some festive season happening in Ukambani over the weekend, and there was a Mchumba who was chosen by the people who were in that festival. This was the Yata meeting in over the weekend, where it is reported that the people of Lower Eastern, let us say, the people of Ukambani have endorsed Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, His Excellency Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, to be the flag bearer and go seek the presidency of the country again. Is this true?
Lati, you don't seem very convinced even the way you're asking. I can tell you I was there. It is true. That's a declaration. Yata meeting was a meeting of leaders of Lower Eastern, and we came out in full numbers. And there are several things I'd want to speak to when it comes to the Yata meeting that I've seen out in the social media. I would like the people of Ukambani to know, number one, that all the governors had been invited. It was their choice, probably not to show up. But they had been invited because Kalonzo has always invited all the leaders every time he has had to call us. And I'll refer back to the time when the president was coming to tour Ukambani to look at the development projects that the national government has done. And at that time, when Kalonzo himself and the president crafted the trip, he actually invited the governors to come and form a small group. We were in a small group who are now going through the projects and trying to make a decision on which ones now should be prioritized for the period that is remaining. And then the governors came. They actually showed up in person, all of them. And at that time, Governor Kivutha was unwell. He sent the DG of Makueni. So it is interesting that there are times when Kalonzo is the de facto leader for all of them, especially I'm referring now to the governors, and there are times they choose that he is not, which is very strange. It's very strange behavior. And then again, it's also very strange the way the media always seems to highlight in Ukambani just about these differences that come up, as if no other region has such differences. These differences come up. And again, the governors over the time have been trying to create themselves as the Ukambani kingpins. We all know that. And they use now the platforms that they have. By the way, they have risen there on the shoulders of Wiper and on the shoulders of Kalonzo. That's how they got into gubernatorial, into the tickets that they have. And now that they have money, and most of them still have questions about the money, they want to use that platform to belittle the shoulder upon which they stood on. And the media always plays into this. And I really don't understand why the media always wants to look at Ukambani in that light. But that's said and done.
Can I ask you a
Yata,
question before you move on to the next? I think it's important to check on what you've just said. So if they've risen to these positions on his shoulders, as you've said, so are you saying essentially that there's some kind of political homage that they must continue paying to him and then continue putting him on that pedestal to allow him take over whatever position he chooses because of the fact that he helped in the past?
No, they don't have to. But neither do they have the reason to belittle him or to put him down or paint him in a light that he's not a good solution for Ukambani for that reason. So that is really the bone of contention that we have, that if indeed you feel you have the capacity to lead Ukambani, then come and sell yourself as yourself, not coming to belittle the leader that most of Ukambani actually believes in. That is the issue. Sell yourself as yourself. Sell yourself with what it is that you can bring that is different. And I feel for the governors, because most of them now will be judged upon their track records. So we wait and see, even them, how they will perform. For instance, Governor Kivutha is going for the senatorial seat. He just announced the other day. he'll be going up against Manzo of Wiper. I'm waiting to see how that will go, because that will be the true test of him as, a whip of the people of Makueni, as he claims to be. And I will assure you, when the politics starts, now you're saying we're in the festive season of politics,
We are.
and we get down to the ground, then you will see who is really
Who
the
the
leader
kingpin
of
is.
Ukambani is, yes. But let me go back to Yata, because something else came up about Yata. And I saw this on the media, where one of the governors was saying, how can somebody hold a leaders meeting at his home? And, what does that, it's not a meeting of leaders. It's what was he saying? It was a New Year's celebration. I
party.
think that's what was said.
Yes.
And I want to say this. When you decide that you're going to go for leadership and you're going to go for the highest seat in a country, you have to unveil yourself to the people. You have to tell people, this is who I am. This is me. You have to unveil yourself so that you're not a mystery to the people. And the one thing that His Excellency Kalonzo has done is unveil himself. He's never lied about who he is as a person. His children, we know them. So that when he ascends into that position, we don't have situations where you have children who become, monsters. We've seen it in African nations where children of presidents become monsters. What he's telling us by inviting us to his home, he's saying, this is who I am. This is me. This is what I do. When I am not at work, this is here. This is where I am. This is my family. You know about Mama Pauline. In fact, when he started his speech, he reminded us to continue praying for Mama Pauline. And he says, this is who I am. And I am going for presidency. And I am looking for your solid support as Ukambani leaders. That is how he started. And don't you think that is such a noble thing? That when you're going for the highest seat in the house, you have to show yourself. You have to tell us, who am I as a person? What do I stand for? What are my ethics?
Be vulnerable.
What are my,
Expose-
what do I
expose
believe in?
your strength and weaknesses.
And the
Expose
other thing
yourself.
he did, which was very good in Yata, which I don't see enough in the media. So let me speak to it. He had the church took center stage at Yata, not the politicians. The church took center stage. And what he's trying to tell us is that the church needs to take its rightful place. The country needs to reset because we have a lot of social, ethical issues that need to be dealt with. And that is how he started at Yata. Before now, he gave us his heartfelt, belly-fired speech that he was ready to go for it and that he was looking for support and that he is able. He reminded us that he is able. And that it is wrong that the media should always portray we only have 2 horses. Because this is what has been going on. Everyone is speaking of only 2 horses. We have other capable leaders out here. And Ukambani is also ready for leadership. We have been faithful. We've been loyal. We've served government after government.
Senator,
now it's time we get our chance as well.
Did the Yata
That I had to
meeting,
throw it in.
the Yata meeting, horse and the cart here, was it last year, where Kalonzo got the endorsement of the Wiper party to be the presidential flag bearer. Now, this is at the national level, where the political party at the national level has said, you are going to be our candidate for presidency. Shouldn't this Yata meeting have taken place before the Kasarani meeting?
No, not
Start
really.
with your
no.
base, start with your background, start from home and say, okay, I have the local support of my people. Now I am going to, using that to the national party and say, I am your party leader, yes, but I still also have my supporters who've said yes. What if now the Ukambani people who had gone to Yata, including yourself, had told him, no, we don't think we don't think you're worth it. What would have happened? They've told them, doesn't matter anyway. I've got the Wiper has told me I can go on. Is this meeting not happening a bit too late? I mean, is it not cart after horse?
I don't think so. I think that it's important that your political party gives you that mandate before you even go down to the people. That is my belief. And also, we are confident that Ukambani will accept him. So it didn't need to be done the way you're saying that he needed to go and look for Ukambani to endorse him. He has been the leader in Ukambani. Like I gave you the example when the president was coming down to Makueni. That meeting, those meetings, he is the one who convened them. And everybody rallied behind him at that time. So it's never been a question on who is at the forefront when it comes to organizing us and leading us on national matters. Yes.
I have a second question on the issue of invitations. So the 3 governors of Ukambani did not turn up at Yata. They had a meeting previously in Machakos on Wednesday. Now, you say that they had been invited. In what form were they invited? And I'm going to use Kalonzo's own words, where he did not attend a meeting last week in State House, where the president and the organizers of that meeting had said that they had invited the people. Kalonzo said he got an invitation a bit late. He already had plans. Musalia said he already had plans. The invitation, in fact, was coming through other proxies, not directly. Was it the same thing, do you think, that the invitation, for example, to Kivuda Kibwana, Governor Charity Ngilu, or Governor Alpha Muthui came through proxies, other people, too late? Muthui had already decided he was going to travel?
The invitations to State House, I'm not too privy to them. But what I know is that I spoke to my party leader the day before and gave us our 100% blessing and said, you guys go ahead. He was in some meetings or something. He was busy. He couldn't attend. But we didn't speak to that. All he said is that, go ahead. You have to go to State House, go and, of course, listen in and support where support need be. I don't think that is the same as when the governors in Machakos will snub certain invitations and take on other invitations based on, of course, their interests. So I don't think those two really, you can compare them, Lati.
I'm actually trying to compare the format.
I don't see how you can compare them.
Maybe the same way it came in late, the same way it got to Kivuda Kibwana, maybe
No,
late.
I don't
or
think
you
so.
used people who you think are close to Kivuda, but they're actually not close to Kivuda.
No.
So the message didn't get to Kivuda.
He speaks to them directly. He does speak to them directly, as far as I know.
Okay.
He calls them. And he said it when he was on the podium. He said that, I've called so-and-so, and I called so-and-so, and I called so-and-so. There's no reason why we would doubt that.
You know,
Yeah.
Senator, you're a true believer. You are. And you are the sort of individual that any political leader would want. Someone who steadfastly believes and supports fully. Unfortunately, the sphere in which we exist and are discussing is politics. And if there's one thing that is a hallmark and a constant in politics, is treachery. Constant. We often discuss politics as though we are discussing the elections of some religious organization, but even that one gets really political in this country, to the point where you can even get confused as to whether it's a religious election, or you can get thoroughly confused. There's bribery, there's just the normal fun and games that go on in our daily political lives. That somebody has been governor, just that little change changes the individual. Because when you're governor, you have real power. And when someone has real power and they're a politician, because these are all politicians, there's nothing stopping them from imagining that they could also be the leader of Ukambani. They do not see any reason why not. And they'll find reason within themselves and what they've done and wonder, but okay, yeah, we know, but even surely. Okay. And then you're talking about people who have been in the political space for quite some time. And some have actually even declared they have their own parties, and they've also declared that they want to be president. All these are things which are not considered unusual in the political realm. Okay. Now, political contest comes to a point where there is a finality. And you stated it well. It will come. After you will know whether this person actually had real power or they didn't. So in between that time, it's a question of jostling and people trying to show that they're better. But there's one other thing that must be considered. With politicians, when they seem to make these gestures, because they are gestures, in my mind, you should see them for what they are. They're negotiating. A politician supposedly makes a stand. They rarely make a stand. The stand is just for you to notice them. And when you notice them, hopefully you'll back on them and tell them, come forward and say, okay, so what really is the problem? How can we resolve this? that Kalonzo is the leader of Ukambani is actually not in doubt. From where I sit, it's not in doubt. And the people who've challenged him in the past have found they're going a bit rough. Now, whether the people of Ukambani are ready to have another leader, again, we will see.
That's right. We will see.
He has been the leader of Ukambani.
Without a doubt, he has been.
Do you think he's still as strong and popular a leader of Ukambani as he has been?
Yes, I think he is.
That you think he still holds sway?
I think the people of Ukambani still consider him to be the supreme leader. My thoughts.
Now the others, like the governors, the way they are talking, they are like, we have previously supported you. We have previously sought you out as our leader. But then we also feel like you use us and you discard us. And for example, we had a conversation here with the Governor Kivutha Kibwana, and he said, look, in 2013, I vied for governor under a different party, and yes, I gave my support to Kalonzo Musyoka, and I won. In 2017, we had a political negotiation with Kalonzo, where I even agreed to join Wiper. And I joined Wiper, and I campaigned under the Wiper banner. I got re-elected as governor, and we got the many votes that we got for Kalonzo in the presidential race. Thereafter, Kalonzo abandoned me, and that's why he's saying even the people of Makueni have told him, you go back to the party that you had a party called Muungano. You come back to Muungano. This Wiper story, leave it. He feels betrayed. Charity Ngilu has never been a member of ODM Kenya. Wiper has been NARC Kenya. She's a leader. She has previously said, yeah. So in this election, let's work with you, Kalonzo. Let's support your presidential bid. I'm not campaigning against you, but I'm campaigning for my seat as governor. They've worked together. Thereafter, Charity Ngilu has said she has felt betrayed by Kalonzo. What are they saying, Senator?
Actually, I don't even understand. Kivutha himself was the chairperson of Wiper.
Yes.
He's the one who ran away. So I don't understand when he says he was betrayed. How? He was even made chairman of the party when he came in 2017. And then he ghosted us. You know, ghosting, he just stopped, showing up. He never paid subscription fees for Wiper. In fact, that's a case that is still pending. So where is the betrayal? Who betrayed who? Who really betrayed who? Because he went and now started campaigning against our party leader very early on in 2017. So who betrayed who? You see, that is not true. Those are not truths. Ngilu, on her part, has been very clear. She does work with Kalonzo a lot of the time. She was even at our NDC. She gives her best wishes. And she plays her politics in the best way she knows how, to remain relevant, to remain in government. And I think she's been good at her own strategies. And she continues to do that. But with a lot of respect to our party leader, they're always talking, they're always in meetings, strategizing. So I don't know what
Well, apart from
Kivutha...
when the meetings are in Kalonzo's home.
But, only that one, because the others she has been. She was at our NDC. She comes to our strategy meetings at the SKM Command Center. And she was during the time when the president was coming, she was a pillar in the conversations that we were having about advancing the projects of Ukambani, national government projects. So I really, that was not true. What the governor has said is very untrue. In fact, he's the one who ghosted us. That is the true position when it comes to Kivutha Kibwana.
But really, Senator, you will grant us this, huh? When it comes to politicians and what really goes on and what they want us in the public domain to consume, they're not necessarily the same thing. These people know each other, and they've known each other for a long time. We're discussing the most seasoned politicians in Cumberland.
That's true.
They've come a long way with each other.
Yes.
So can we honestly say that with Haki ya Mungu, we know exactly what is going on?
No, you can't. You can't. There's a lot, I think, that meets the eye when it comes to politics. There's a lot of side shows and side conversations that probably we will never know. So we take what we know and we run with it, isn't it? That's what happens. We take what we know.
And does all of
And
this
we run
go?
with it.
Does all of this go beyond the desire for recognition? Does it go beyond that recognizing the position of Musyoka is that he has been a leader in this area for the longest time, recognize that position? Or does it go beyond that to the point of give me then your endorsement to go and seek the highest seat in the land?
I'm not sure I quite get what you're asking.
Is it, are we saying, you can call me Nduko, it's okay.
I was tempted.
You were tempted.
I was tempted, yeah.
Is it that he wants the people in this area to recognize his position as a leader from this region? Or is it beyond that to say, really, guys, endorse me for this position? Or is it just, you guys just take a moment and just recognize what it is that I have in terms of offering for leadership in this?
I see
is
what
it
you
more
mean.
than that?
It is certainly more than that. Actually, I'll refer back to his speech. And I told you his speech in Yata, he had fire in his belly, like a renewal. It's like a renewal of himself. And he offered himself and he gave various reasons as to why, in his opinion, this country needs a leadership like his. And having presented himself and unveiled himself the person that he is, a spiritual person, a person with no tolerance for corruption, clean record, a peace builder. He's a peace builder from the region. He already has enough to show his success when it comes to peace building. His track record in some of the ministries where he served before, in the beginning and the onset of free education and things like that, and a few others. He laid them out there and said, it is time for a leadership that does not advocate for hate or for extreme regional politics where you put in only your people once you're in government, and things like that. And he says it's time for a renewal. It's time this country gets something different, something new. And he's able, he's capable. So he's in the race. So it is beyond just a recognition. It is a true belief that he can bring a different leadership, which this country desires. Not that noise we've been hearing, there's too much, political noise. Yes, I know it's how we do our politics in Kenya, but maybe it's time we reset. Maybe it's time we reset and try and do things differently for a change.
Talking about the politics of Lower Eastern, this is the Ukambani region. In Yata on Sunday, a Wiper Party leader, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, hosted leaders from Ukambani region, and he sought their support and endorsement to continue seeking the presidency and saying, you know what, I got you. You have entrusted me before. I have gone out there, I've sought this position unsuccessfully, but this time I'm confident. And like Senator, you're saying, he even looked back and said, look at what I have done since I joined politics. Look at what I have been doing for the country, for the people of Kenya and for the people of Ukambani. And that's why I'm talking to you. I'm sure he wasn't talking to the people of Ukambani and telling them, you know what, because you gave me this mandate, I went and brought peace in South Sudan. Because of this mandate, I participated in peace in Somalia. He must have been telling them about the things that he has done in Ukambani. What are those things that Kalonzo has delivered for Lower Eastern in all his decades of leadership?
Oh, I knew that was coming because that has been
the question.
A lot of people keep saying Kalonzo has done nothing for Ukambani, and I've now that I know that now that I have been probably in government, quote unquote, by being in Senate and beginning to understand how government works, how resources, because it's all about resources, how resources move around. So the question would be how much of the resources has Kalonzo managed to bring to Ukambani would be the question, or how many Kambas have been able to benefit either through positions in government, and things like those. I think that would be the track record we would be analyzing.
Yes.
In that sense. Now, before the promulgation of the Constitution, and he served as vice president, I think everybody knows, under the leadership of the late President Moi, there was no one who could decide on where money goes other than the late president himself. And you are completely at the, what do I call it? At the mercy of, or at his
You're serving
his
at
own,
the pleasure
yes,
of.
at the pleasure of. It is him who decided, I am now going to give to Ukambani with a dam because of Kalonzo is the vice president. We all know that. But at that time when he served as VP, there were some wins, because I know, like Mwingi, Mwingi has water, Kindaruma Dam. Kindaruma water pipeline was done during Moi's time when the Kalonzo was the vice president, and it brought water to Mwingi. That's one big project, which unfortunately
Kalonzo was
for
never
the
Moi's.
phase 2,
Kalonzo was
sorry,
Moi.
when he served in the government of
Okay.
Moi, sorry about that, and whose phase 2 has never been done since then. Since Kibaki's time, the phase 2 of the Kindaruma was not done.
Oh, when Kalonzo was now vice president and
Yes.
leader of government business in parliament, phase 2 did not take place.
Phase 2 was supposed to take place shortly after that. This was now during 2013. This falls under the projects, the national projects that were supposed to be done
Oh,
from
under the Jubilee.
2013, going forward.
Okay.
So up to today, that is still pending. But you can see some of the wins. I could only speak to one, but I know there are various others that we probably
Like you said,
benefited
Senator,
from.
water is a big issue in
Yes,
Ukambani,
yes.
right? You look at Mwingi, that's entire Kitui County, in Makueni County, Machakos County. Water is a big issue. So Kalonzo has been a member of parliament. Kalonzo has served in Moi's government. Kalonzo took over from Mulu Mutisia as the kingpin of the region. And Mulu Mutisia was working very well with Daniel Arap Moi, the president. And so Moi also endorsed the taking over of Kalonzo as the kingpin. But still, water has
It's
been
still
an
an
issue.
issue up to today, yes.
So how can we then say that if Kalonzo has not delivered the one thing that is the
That is an issue.
basic pain point of the people of Ukambani, how can we say that he has done what?
Yeah,
Then let's. I am still going through. Yeah.
Was Charity Ngilu not Minister for Water?
She was.
Yeah.
So, and how did she come? She didn't solve that problem.
Those are
So,
questions that we are asking.
Let me. I hadn't finished going. I had started. Maybe I had started from too far away.
Oh, so
coming.
we brought
We-
our
we- we're
So
coming too
during
fast.
yes.
Okay.
this
So-
domestic
She said.
this domestic bickering
Yeah,
to watch. Okay,
Small.
please.
So we
Ah,
have
yeah.
we have the period
Endelea.
before the promulgation of the constitution, and you know how tough that was. How tough it was to get any government resources to come to your region, unless the president decided
Yeah.
that they're coming to your region. So how do you then judge Kalonzo in that manner? Whether he was in parliament, I'm telling you, everybody understands how the national government worked at that time of when the resources were centralized. Now, when we decentralized our resources through the devolution, we have now governors. We have now money that goes to the counties,
Yes.
and we have money that is left at the national.
Yeah.
Again, when people are judging Kalonzo, on what platform exactly are they judging him? Other than maybe his choice of the people he puts in government. In which case, then we would be asking, you've been given this platform to go and serve on behalf of the people of Ukambani. What have you done for them? That would be the question to ask. And that does not directly mean that Kalonzo has not done his work. Because when it comes to putting people in government, I think Kalonzo has done, in fact, when you look at the list that we have, we call them, some of them professionals, and those who are serving in government, there are quite a number of them who serve in
the present
very
government.
senior boards. Yes, we have. He has put in quite a number.
So he's been
And
influential.
He has been influential on that front. And you see,
And
it's
even in the
because
Moi days, he was influential on that front.
I'm not sure about the Moi's days. I can't speak to that with confidence the way I can speak now, because now I've met the professionals
seen
and the
them.
people who work in government through appointments that have been, brought by
Canvassed by.
by Kalonzo. I have seen them, and you see, it's because they're not in the public realm, so people don't know. Somebody who serves like in the board of the medical fraternity, for instance, the chairman, is a senior person who comes from Ukambani, and he's doing a very good job when
The
he's
chairman
there.
of Ketrako.
The chairman of Ketrako as well.
But
And,
Senator,
and various others. Now the question is,
Senator,
but the question is, the question is, no. The question is, he has put you there to represent as part of Ukambani. That person, isn't that person the one we should be judging? Why
Senator-
are we judging?
Senator, as I said, you're a believer. And it is a wonderful thing. It's a quality that is rare in politics, and it's a good thing. Individuals from Cumberland have always been a strong factor in any government since independence.
Absolutely.
Whether it is a central bank, the first African Chief Justice came from Cumberland. The first African who became Chief of General Staff was from Cumberland. And the list goes on and on. The first female presidential candidate in this country was from
Ukambani.
Cumberland.
That's right.
First female cabinet minister.
Was also from
Cumberland.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
if you're talking about luminaries, Cumberland has always had luminaries even before Kalonzo. And if you look at the track record, these were people who were in those positions because they merited being in those positions. Whether they're talking about Mule, whether they're talking about Muli,
That's right.
it doesn't really matter.
That's right.
When we ask about Kalonzo's achievements, unfortunately, it may be an unfair question in this regard. We have a history in this country where what people judge you by are not many things, but how have you used the influence you have in that position?
To benefit us.
Simple. Concrete benefits. When Ngilu was minister
Visible
yeah,
benefits.
when
Yeah, the things that they
when
like
Her
a
Excellency
road,
Charity
yeah,
Ngilu
yeah.
was Minister for Health, what was not said? But there are those who came from her neck of the wood who said, no, Charity has done a lot of wonderful things. Clinics have been built, we have drugs, we have... Now, unfortunately, that is the negative side of our politics. But that's what people count on. In the Moi era, I could even argue that it was actually easier if you're on the good side of the president to have so-called development projects coming to your area, if you're on good terms. Because he liked you, he would bring it. All we're saying is this, beyond the obvious, because now His Excellency, Musyoka, Stephen Musyoka, Kalonzo Musyoka, wants to be president of the country. What is this thing? Because we start by judging you from, okay, kwenu. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
What have you done?
Umejenga nyumba, uko na fence.
Do your relatives have permanent houses?
So I'll tell you this.
Yes.
There's a lot of projects. I may not have listed them here this morning to come and tell you. But there are many. There are roads, there are all sorts of projects, big and small, that have come through his influence. Yeah. I may not speak to, like this.
No,
but
it's
they're there.
important to mention the major ones. Like,
Yeah.
those that you can say, all right, the road from Kibwezi going all the way to Kitui, that goes all the way now to Yata and into Thika, is through the influence of Kalonzo. Can we say such kind of
Of course
thing?
you can, because we were there.
Because you've given us,
Yes,
you've told us
yeah.
about the Mwingi water project.
Yeah.
So give us another
So
one.
even some of those major roads, all those are out of national influence. Those ones that cannot be influenced from a regional, setting. Those are from national influence. And I can tell you, when we met, again, when the president was coming, because that's when I became privy to really how these resources move, national resources move. That's when I really got to learn how they move.
Yes.
And we had the lists from all the ministries on the national projects they were doing. And we were busy summarizing, and you could see his influence. And he would say, no, this project needs to be completed. Let it be prioritized. It was started and it needs to be completed. And then you would see the president's people, putting a
And
tick
this is
to
through
that.
Kalonzo's diplomacy and political maneuvering, working outside of government.
Yeah, he's not been
working
in government.
with the government of the day.
Yes.
So Kalonzo, as an opposition figure, because that's what he's been since 2013, has been able to influence the current government to start and complete some projects.
Just a few.
Which is why I'm asking.
Just a few.
Kalonzo in government, in Moi's time, in Kibaki's time.
Maybe goodwill. Maybe the goodwill was not there then as it is probably now.
He was not able to have... He
The
has
goodwill.
goodwill to get appointed into cabinet. He has goodwill to get people appointed, but he does not have goodwill to influence a project.
To influence resources is not an easy thing, Lati. Actually, I've come to learn that it is not easy to influence, to get government resources to come down to your region. And that is the more reason why we keep saying, for us who are proponents of BBI, and we keep saying we need our leaders to be part
Up
of...
there.
Up there. These are the reasons. I'm telling you, those things are not easy. I've seen it.
What you say, we believe.
Yeah.
Like you, I'm also a believer.
Me, I don't believe a lot of things that she says.
Yeah, that is not
What if you ask
convincing.
me what I believe? What I believe is this. Whenever people get into some arrangement, they negotiate. They negotiate positions in cabinet. They negotiate projects. They negotiate. When His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka became VP in the Kibaki era, he must have negotiated.
Yes.
He must have said, I want this, I want this, because he was important. I want this, I want the other. It's always negotiated. To understand, handshake, Kisumu port, alive, bustling.
Something that had
Actually,
been waiting
when you say
for-
that,
Yes.
I recall
Yes.
now that a lot of the stalled projects that we saw when we
Yes.
were going through the lists of from 2013
Yes.
were actually started before 2013. Quite a number of water projects are stalled in Ukambani, the national government ones. And, they stopped funding them after 2013. Those were some of the challenges that the president was trying to unravel when he came down to Makueni. And we were able to, pick out a few that then could be pushed within the remaining time that was there. But there was a gap in funding of a lot of national projects from 2013 up until the handshake 2018, when the handshake happened. And then some of those began to be unlocked at that time. Even the speeding up of Twake Dam, which now, that conversation happened properly after 2018. So you could see there's a gap there in the funding. And I have to say that I was not 100% prepared to come with the list of projects, because you wanted to hear actual projects.
You see why we want
I
to
was
hear
not
this?
prepared to come with a list of projects. But
Mheshimiwa, you know why? When somebody, this is how we think as Kenyans, somebody wants to lead the nation, okay? We are definitely going to ask you. This story of the nation, let's put aside first.
When somebody wants any job,
Yes,
see,
tell us.
when somebody wants, look, think about it, Senator. When you go and you present yourself for an interview, you spend a majority of your time talking about the things that you've done, right?
I agree.
Talking about the experience that you've had that has adequately prepared you for this now new position that you want to hold.
I agree totally. And it is in my view that when you're sitting in a position like you guys are sitting, which is very influential, it's also good we say there are many other aspects to leadership besides, you want to see a road that has been created. That is not necessarily 100% leadership. Or you just want to see a project there's more to leadership than just that project. There's leadership when somebody says, I am a reconciliator. I am a person who brings people together.
Yes.
That is serious leadership. And in fact, in a nation like ours today, whereas we are saying that the economy is a first issue that needs to be dealt with in the next government, there's also other societal issues that we need to deal with. In fact, the other day, I think Sakaja was here and he mentioned Lee Kuan Yew when he was saying how Lee Kuan Yew had to make different tribes learn to live together. Those are conversations that we should be having here as a nation if we are really going to truly rebuild our economy. And the same goes to our behavioral. In fact, one of the things when I listened to Lee Kuan Yew that helped transform Singapore to what it is, it was not so much about the infrastructure, because he says himself, you build all the infrastructure, but if people don't have the right behavior, then even that infrastructure will not serve
Be
them.
of any benefit.
Yes,
Is
so he
that
talked about...
I hear you,
No,
Senator.
let me
Is
just
that what
finish.
is that the message that he is giving?
Listen, let me just finish. So there's leadership in even changing behavioral, how people approach life. That alone is leadership. And that can create a big impact in having a country settle down, number one, go into a peaceful setting, because we need that as this nation when you're going to start rebuilding. And what Kalonzo is telling us is that he can present a different leadership than what is already, you can hear from the two horses saying, no. Maybe it's time we put aside all this noisy politics and, stone throwing and name calling and everything, and reset, calm down, let's start afresh. Let us look at our ethics. Let us look at our morals. Let us look at our spirituality. Let's look at our behaviors. Let us look at all those things so that we can begin to settle down ourselves and look forward to rebuilding our country seriously. Those are some of the things
Mheshimiwa,
that are in our conversation.
it isn't said loudly enough.
It isn't, and that's what I was going to ask. If it's
Yeah.
a conversation that you're having with your internal caucuses,
No. You'll
or is it
begin to
something
hear
that is
of
on
it.
the platform of public
You'll
attention.
begin to hear of it. Some of us have been speaking to it in a quiet way. You'll find that some of our
No, this
people,
one you have to speak loudly,
Yeah.
not quietly.
Yes, we've been having these conversations, but we're going to come out louder.
Senator, at the heart of all our discussions, we are poor people. And the bulk of our people are poor. You know, these discussions people have about first world and how they get along. Those fellows have managed poverty. And even if you're poor, there's a system that ensures you can live from day to day. Our people are still struggling with just the most basic and fundamental. So when you hear of what people want to see, it is not that they want to see those things. They want to stop being poor. They want to stop being needy. They want to stop begging. They want to have dignity. And that is why the demand of the leaders, these things that seem unreasonable, because in their minds, these are the things that are the hallmarks of poverty. Now, if everyone is assured of equal opportunity, you're talking about school, you're talking about health, my friend, we can then get to the esoteric things about peacekeeping. Those ones will understand. But right now, you tell me about peacekeeping, I'll ask you, how does that translate into food coming into my mouth and into my stomach? It's a wonderful quality. But in the order of priorities, what is this thing that concerns me the most? That really is at the heart of our matter and the heart of our politics.
Yes.
And that is why when you find some popular politicians, at some level, they're dealing with this matter of poverty. They may not say it.
Yeah.
They may preach class wars and couch it as an empowerment narrative, but they're using that poverty as the fulcrum from which they're preaching their message.
That's right.
And we're asking the question,
Yes.
the qualities you say of Kalonzo, I don't question. You know my opinion, and I've stated it about whether I think he's a supreme leader of Ukambani. And my answer is unequivocal. Yes, most definitely. However, these things that he has done, you can't speak about them silently. People have to know.
That's true. That I agree.
Yes.
We have to shout about it, and we will, because now the journey has started.
Mm-hmm.
The festive season is upon us. We shall be in Ukambani. The party leader is going round this week and next week to drum up support and to drum up for Kenyans to come out and register, because we need more Kenyans to register. That's something we have to all speak to, because we need our youth to pick up their ID cards from their chiefs and from the other officers and go and register as voters, so that we can capture the numbers that I think IBC had sort of targeted. So we need that. And just to come back again to what you're saying about our party leader, there's a lot that he has spoken to when it comes to his angle for economic recovery approach that we have spoken to many times. He has been the one speaking on the 24-hour economy. He has spoken about the agriculture economy and the blue economy. I mean, there are many areas of the economy revival that he has spoken to. But please, do not forget there are parts of our country today, even if there are classrooms, the children cannot attend school because of matters regarding peace building that is required. And let's not also forget that every electoral cycle, a lot of Kenyans do go through a lot of issues because of electoral violence, which we have not fully resolved to this day. And he is saying that he will resolve those issues. Those are some of the things that he's adding onto the economic recovery policies that ideas that he has come up with, and as a party that we also ascribe to. And down there in Ukambani, we were just talking off the cuff, and I was saying, Makueni is ripe to be the breadbasket of this country, and we need people who are thinking in that dimension. And you'll find that the leaders that we have in Wiper, in that region, they're plugging into the national conversation of Kalonzo in that manner. That we are looking forward to the next governor, because then we are going to prioritize agriculture, agribusiness, and food production, and the potato conversation that was happening, capacity building, upscaling our farmers, and seeing what they can do. So those are conversations we are having amongst ourselves.
Those are going to be taking place
as leaders of Ukambani.
Thank you very much, Senator. Yes.
I know time's running out, but really quick, the way you're articulating it, the way you are saying it here, it's clear that you have it on a different level in terms of understanding and comprehension
Then
the rest of the country.
So she has to bring it so that we are with her at that same level.
The rest of the country has to be there as well.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
You should be the communications person for the Kalonzo Musyoka campaign. Senator Sylvia Kasanga, thank you very much for joining us
Thank
today.
you too. Thank you.
And yes, come again as we get into the full throttle of the campaigns. We'll come again, tell us about the One Kenya Alliance and Kalonzo's position in this, Kalonzo's position on the ballot, and Kalonzo's position on various others, and also then Sylvia Kasanga's position when it comes to elective politics.
Okay, that's for next time.
That's for next time.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.